What up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. Welcome back to another episode of The Fearless Show. With me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Reese Walker. Say what up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? Artist D Walker here with The Fearless Show. We got our special guest and also contributor to our writing and opinion sections. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, Steven Silver here. I've written for the site since last year, I believe. Might have even been the year before that. I'm a film critic. I'm a journalist. I'm a pop culture commentator, podcaster. I have my own podcast called Film Scribes with some friends of mine here in Philadelphia. And I watched the Oscars after an entire year of watching. I didn't see every single nominated film. There were a couple I missed. There was, I think, one foreign film that I didn't see. And I think one of the... a few things with scattered nominations that I wasn't able to see in time, but I watched everything else. I watched all the shorts. I watched all the probably. I think there were 77 movies nominated, and I think I saw 72 of them.
That's a lot of movies.
I can't speak to absolutely everything, but I can talk about most of the films.
Okay. Yeah, just like we always do, just plug where everybody can find you.
I'm sorry.
Just plug, like we always do, plug where everybody can find you if they want to follow you on Twitter. Or
on Twitter, at Steven Silver. I write, and on top of that, I write for various sites such as Philly Voice, Philadelphia Weekly, Splice Today. You can go to my Rotten Tomatoes page and look up my name, and that's where my movie reviews are. So.
Cool. I forgot to say, but today's date is February 25th, 2019. So, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Oscars a lot, and give our CEO who won from our predictions that we made a few weeks ago. But before we hop into all that, we're going to talk about a few current news items. And of course, I have to start with Jussie Smollett. Kind of the hot topic at the moment that people have been talking about for at least the last week or two.
Yeah, he's gotten the most attention in his life.
Yeah.
His career, I'll say.
I'm not sure it was worth it, but it's been a rapidly evolving story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's funny about it. I put a story in about this, which I don't know if you looked at yet, but basically,
yes, I just came up.
He seems to be sticking with the idea that he was actually attacked. To this day, I believe is still he is not.
Oh, he's dying with the lie. He's dying with the lie.
He has not admitted to it, but the police did come out, I think, today, and so that they had even more evidence against him. So,
yeah. And he had I think the superintendent of police in Chicago going on like national TV talk shows talking about how we have all this evidence against it's completely like against the protocol of how criminal stuff usually works.
I was very surprised to see that.
I mean, Chicago had so much murder and so much crime, but like this case so much attention because
this is the case we're going to talk about. Yeah,
they were talking about what parts didn't make sense to them either and stuff. They're being like mad open about it. Like, yeah.
They're made sure that in the court of public opinion that he is for sure going to lose this one. Like, it's over basically, and the public eye, it's over. He's a liar.
It's crazy.
I just think it's funny because Chicago are notorious for not solving a lot of crimes, but they solved this one incredibly fast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to talk about this. I mean, the Chicago police, there's just a huge corruption, huge history of horrible things. Like I heard all this stuff about how they pulled 20 detectives off of other things to work on this case, which I don't know if I even believe that. I mean, I don't know if they're taking people off of murders to solve this, hate crime thing, which
cases.
I don't know why.
They took 20 detectives off of cold cases to solve.
Anything for a win, I guess. Anything, even something as I won't say it's trivial, this whole case, but it kind of is in the big picture of things. But it's not because he made these false claims and like they're affecting so many people negatively. And just the way that he did it was just so kind of disgusting. Right. But I mean, I don't know if Steve, like we kind of had this discussion, me and Doris, so we're not gonna go fully into it, but I don't know how you felt about it, like when you first heard it. Did you believe it? Do you think his story is believable? Because me, immediately I was like, nah, I don't believe anything he's saying.
Well, I mean, it's like I feel like if someone says they're a victim of a crime, you want to extend a certain amount of sympathy to them to start off. But I remember people questioning it like in this first or second day. Like I don't want the revisionist history is that the media like went along with the story all along, which isn't really true because I mean he gave national TV interviews where people were asking him, did you make this up? And I mean that idea was out there that he had made it up, and it wasn't like they completely backed him up. Not to mention, I mean, and the media kept at it all along, and it became an even bigger story once it was clear that he that didn't happen. But like, I was really fascinated in like the local news aspect of it because the local TV stations in Chicago specifically were all over the story, and they were getting leaks every single day from the Chicago police about police believe such and such, or this happened or that happened. I mean, that was. And I worked in local TV news for a brief time, and I this is something that I really noticed that doesn't get talked about, how close local TV stations and the police are in major cities, and how they know. So if you watch local news, so much of it is about crime. Half the story is about crime, and they have to do a certain amount of sucking up to the police in order to have access to them and to get their sources. Because I mean, you're going to write about crime. That's your source is the police for 90% of the stories, because it's like, So there aren't many police who have, there aren't many local reporters who are well sourced in the criminal world. There's probably some people in New York who are the mobsters. They have sources with them, but other than that, I mean, like if there's a murder, the police are the source, and maybe some neighbors or witnesses or whatever. But that's like. And like people always talk about the media being biased or whatever, but like that part gets discounted. The fact that the local news, they're gonna give the cop side of the story on almost everything just because they almost have no choice. So and we saw that a lot with the Smollett case. There were like 4 or 5 reporters who just every day had scoops about this and things the cops were saying that they weren't saying publicly, and because the cops until like the very end their public statement was that it was true. Or that we're still treating him as a victim. We're not calling him a suspect, and that was so.
I need to see video footage of him in Subway. Like I need to see stuff like that. Like, bro, were you really in Subway?
I believe he planned it all out. I believe he did everything he said. I just don't believe the reason behind it was the reason. I don't believe 2 guys at 2 a.m. in Chicago, downtown Chicago, were stalking him and yelled out "Empire" at him at 2 a.m. as he was going to his hotel. I just don't believe that. And
that was I think one of the police officers said, people who support Trump don't watch Empire and they don't know who he is. That was
one of my major points. That was like literally my first point. Like I was like, I didn't even know who he was, honestly. Like all I knew was kept hearing Empire actor. I was like, okay, well, I don't even watch the show, so I don't even know him. But the fact that a Trump supporter is like watching Empire can pick this guy out at 2 a.m. and like, come on,
I'm not gonna. But I knew his face, so it was weird. Like I saw his face, the picture, and I was like, oh, okay, that's his name. The guy. I was like, oh yeah, he sings on the show Empire, cool. But I was like, why would they target this guy? Like, where was he? Like, I was like, I don't understand.
They knew his itinerary. Who knew? Come on, like it's just
like I'm confused. So that was just
going at Subway at 2 a.m.
Like some people said stuff like, well, I can't imagine that there were Trump supporters in a city like Chicago, but there are.
For sure.
Any big city, no matter how democratic it is, there are Trump supporters.
Now, are there Trump supporters that are following?
I live in Philadelphia, which I think went 9-1 for Hillary and citywide. But like, you go to certain parts of the city, there's Trump people who might not recognize the guy from Empire, but they certainly live in the city.
I mean, I believe that. I just
a lot of people watch Empire though. I don't even think it's as popular as it used to be. After its first like 2 seasons, it never was as popular as it was. So like, I think its viewership is definitely declined. I don't think people really know anybody except for Terrence Howard
and
Taraji
Taraji
Henson. Yeah.
So,
movies. It's a little different, like big movies. So
yeah. So like those are like the only 2 people you really know. I noticed like one actress that was in that show is in a different show, like now called The Gifted or something on Fox. So she's in like a superhero movie, but show. So, but I don't know her name, but
look,
like either. So I don't
I
know
mean,
anybody's name.
I just did like an opinion little short video opinion. I just posted it today, so you guys should definitely check that out on the site. But basically, my whole point was just I don't even really blame him for it because you can't really blame like a liar for being like a liar and stuff like that, like just being who he is. But I blame people for like falling for it like so easily, and not like the media, but like
But
all
what
the
about the
supporters on
letter
tweet and stuff like that. Like, come on, like.
What about prior to like the build-up? The letter happened weeks before this.
Oh,
like
he's been setting this up for a while. Like,
yeah,
nobody's talking about
like
the letter,
they didn't
so I
react
gotta
to
really
it the
take
way
it
he
to
wanted
another
or something. Like he
yeah.
sent it in, and then they didn't do anything about it. Oh, y'all not gonna do nothing about that letter? What letter? Oh, I didn't get any mail. Oh, okay. Like
I read somewhere
guys gotta do something.
He might be looking at like really serious federal charges for the letter because like using the mail in the creation of a fake threat is like some federal statute that he would be violating and be looking at way more jail time than he would be for the other thing. So I don't know if they're actually going to throw the book at him or not.
Yeah, I don't know how much jail time, if any, he's really going to get, but he deserves all of the shit that he's about to go through. Like he really does, because this is just bullshit. And the people who like jumped out the window for him on like Twitter, like right away, like all the celebrities and stuff, like they deserve all this egg on their face too, because
all these presidential candidates too.
Yeah,
they're like they were all like, and then that led to
like. I said, all of them that jumped to like support immediately, but like openly and like widely and encouraging and like and like shutting down people like skeptics. Like you can't be skeptical. Like people that were doing that look so crazy right now, especially just because like I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. And some people are still rocking with them. Like some people are still waiting for.
They have no choice. They went all in. Yeah. They just like where how do you get out of that like situation? You can't.
I gotta wait till the verdict. Like they wait until the verdict now. Like
yeah. Oh.
Well, Kamala Harris. There was a conspiracy theory that Kamala Harris is his aunt, and therefore that she was involved in the hoax. Which I guess the Smollett's mother's maiden name is Harris, so therefore someone took the leap that Kamala Harris is related. It's not true because they're not related.
Oh, that's funny.
Same part of the country, and the theory was that Harris introduced like an anti-lynching law, and the idea was that she participated in this hoax in order to build support for that. But like that was in the works long before this, and it passed Congress unanimously, so it wasn't like she needed to. I
heard a bunch of conspiracy,
but it was just the tweet that she did. Like when I read the tweet, I just thought this is not going to age well.
Like, no, for real. Yeah, that's when it looks bad. Because when they're talking bad about something, like you can be positive about one thing defending it, but like your words can't be too like harsh.
You could say like, oh, if this is true, this is a travesty, which is what we said. But it's just like I'm not gonna be like, oh, you have to believe him or you're a racist too, or like like it's just like, oh my god, like it's too much now.
But I mean, if the worst thing you could say about Kamala Harris is that, and the fact that she said the thing about the Tupac album that was the wrong year that she said it was, I mean, that's if it's her against Trump, I mean, that's not really a fair fight in terms of things.
Of course not.
And so.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Trump took time out of his busy day to comment on this one too. So
yeah. The conspiracy theory that I heard was that this was a hoax to like get everyone to forget about Black History Month.
By who? By the cops or by him?
I don't know. I was like, they're working together, man. Like he's gonna walk away free. And they're gonna say we actually don't know who the perps are, the two guys. No,
let's be honest. Black History Month has been the most prominent month and most celebrated month in our country, though. So, I mean, I don't see the agenda. But I mean, we could go on this forever. I just want to kind of touch on it
Jussie
and
Smollett.
talk about it again. Jussie Smollett's situation is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
The boy that cried hate crime.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Forever in his life.
Just, use a little more caution before jumping to massive conclusions and defenses of people that you don't even know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, now people know for sure not to play with something that serious.
But there was another controversy that has gone around since the last time we talked. I don't know if you guys have seen the Aladdin trailer with Will Smith, but he has been getting hit pretty strongly about how he appears in the movie.
Oh, word.
Yeah. First they're mad because he wasn't blue in the first teaser trailer or teaser image, and now they're mad that he is blue and how it looks in the trailer. So it's like a
What?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're remaking that and they're remaking Aladdin, and they're both this year, and I don't really know why either one is necessary.
They're not money.
And I love the
Yeah.
first Aladdin. So, and I mean, this is what Disney's doing. Like, if you look at Disney's slate for this year, it's another, in addition to all the Marvel stuff, it's a remake of Dumbo, it's a remake of Lion King, it's a remake of, and it's a sequel to Toy Story, and it's a sequel to Frozen. And it's just, I mean, some of these might be good, but it's all just, it's none of it's original.
I think, yeah, but see, like, what I think they're doing is, because Disney's gonna, do you know when they're gonna launch their streaming platform?
This year, I think later this year is what last time.
Okay, because like in the music industry, what people do is create remixes to get their streams up on the original song. So like these movies are basically remixes to the originals, and now they're gonna have all their digital classics on their streaming platform.
I don't think Disney was going to have any trouble getting people to the streaming platform in the first
Oh,
place.
I know that. I'm just saying the new generation is going to watch the new stuff like it's hot and want to watch the old stuff even more just on their own without like getting put onto it.
I mean, they're all pointless. They really are. Like they're basically beat for beat recreations and much worse, but it's like it's just easy money. So I know why they're doing it. It's just easy money basically. You don't even have to really put in too much work in it. Just get some big name actors, get a couple of directors, and that's it. Like they turn these movies around really fast. So, is there anything left for them to turn into a live action remake? Because I know they're doing
there's like
Mulan.
40 animated movies. I'm sure they'll work their way through those too. There'll be another Pinocchio, another Snow White, another just go down the line. I mean, there's all.
Yeah.
I mean, Fantasia would be crazy.
They have, and they bought Toy Story Fox, so they're gonna have like a whole other studio with 100 years of history with all these movies, and I really hope that they put the older movies somewhere to stream. Netflix doesn't have anything old. I mean, Stanley Donen, and none of his movies are on Netflix because they're all from before 1970. So,
I'm not really happy about Disney buying up all these studios.
Oh yeah, I told you. I was like, I wasn't sure what it was gonna do, and at first I was like, all right, that's cool, because I didn't know they were gonna have a streaming platform. But now that I know that they are going to be a direct competitor with Netflix and Hulu, then
they own Pixar.
Now I'm like,
Marvel.
Oh shit!
Now they're about to own Fox.
Yeah.
They own Star Wars. Like it's. I don't really like this.
What I didn't like was when this first got announced, about 80% of the media coverage was about one thing. It was about, what does this mean for a crossover with the MCU and the X-Men?
That's the last. I don't even want them to crossover, to be honest.
Like, maybe they'll do that someday, but that's not what's. I mean, this is like
everybody was worried about like. They were worried about like the rated R rating and stuff, or like how like Marvel was starting to get like a little more gritty in some ways, and like they wanted to keep the edge of like bloodiness and new shit, and like they thought Disney might like fuck up like some of the chemistry with the Marvel. That was like yeah, exactly. So like that's one thing. That's where that controversy came from. But then I was also thinking just like their exclusivity and like taking it away from like Netflix, like not putting new seasons on or something.
I mean, having the large majority of like intellectual properties under one giant organization is never a good thing for creativity.
Right.
So
right.
That's what I'm more worried about, is that
it'll shake out with like 4 of these companies owning everything. It'll be like them and Universal, which is Comcast, and maybe someone will buy Netflix at some point, and that'll be another one. I mean, it'll just be, and you got to subscribe to all of them. This will be instead of cable. You'll just have to subscribe to all these things in order to get all the entertainment you want, and it'll end up costing about what cable costs now. So,
yeah.
And I mean, there's good and bad things about it. The good thing is, I mean, the good thing about Netflix is there's just so much there, and a lot of projects are getting made that wouldn't be made otherwise. But
Yeah.
Right.
you know, the downside is there's nothing old on there, and there's nothing, you know, there's a lot of film history that just
how
is,
long
not
before they
accessible
start
anyway.
going towards the more traditional model? That's all.
What do you mean?
Make more money that way. So I don't know. Whenever a corporation gets that much power and control over stuff, it never really turns out well for the consumers. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah. That's why monopolies are illegal.
Yeah.
Sort of.
True.
Well, I mean, there was Filmstruck, which was the streaming service that had like old movies, which shut down a couple months ago because it was bought. It was under Time Warner, which AT&T bought, and I guess they realized it wasn't profitable enough to their liking, and so that went away. And I'm part of the problem because I never subscribed. I kind of feel bad that I didn't, but I mean, there've been a lot of streaming services like this that have gone away. Where I'm really glad that exists. Really great idea. I mean, did I sign up for it myself? No, I didn't. But you know, I'm glad someone did. So maybe
you are a vocal supporter.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see which way it goes. I mean, it'll be good in some ways. You know, I mean, Netflix has put a lot of movies into existence and funded a lot of things, and given distribution to a lot of things that might not have gotten that otherwise. I mean, the Orson Welles movie, they got restored after 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Netflix, but Disney I am, in terms of owning all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Netflix is buying up a lot of Fox's canceled shows and like remaking them, like bringing all their seasons to Netflix and then like rebooting it with new seasons.
They're doing that to a lot of companies. They did that. That was like, I forget what network that was on. It was on cable though before. Maybe Lifetime. And then they just
I haven't seen the show.
Then they just bought it and put it on their stream service, and you see how like quickly that shot up to popularity because nobody even knew about it before. So I mean, it's a good way to get like a second life on stuff. Like Netflix is, I'm not too upset with them. They're doing a pretty good job in terms of creativity and letting people kind of get their voice heard.
Yeah.
The documentaries too. I mean, they fund a lot of documentaries. They fund a lot of like stand-up specials, and there's a lot of just you know, and that's one thing. And I don't want to go too far from what we're talking about, but like documentaries, this was a great year for documentaries because there's a lot of companies that are just giving them distribution, like Amazon is, and Netflix is, and PBS, and CNN. I mean, there ended up being a ton of them. So
I feel like there's even a lot of documentaries that have been popping up on cable TV now. You know, I think people's interest in documentaries has gone up a lot because of Netflix specifically. You know,
it's those murder documentaries.
Yeah, murder and like the R. Kelly and Michael Jackson one coming up.
That and
and the cult like
the cult ones for sure.
Ted Bundy one.
The Wild Country, that was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, did you guys? Speaking of that, did you see? I don't know if you want to watch Documentary Now.
No,
I didn't.
The third season just started. It was Bill Hader and Fred Armisen started it. It's this like, it's a show where each episode is a parody of a documentary. Like, it's always a parody of like a famous old documentary, which like, it's really funny if you know the documentary that they're parodying, but even if you don't, it's like funny on its own merits. And one was a parody of Wild Wild Country, where it was Owen Wilson as the cult leader. It was brilliant. It was, and I don't think I've even seen all of Wild Wild Country, so I didn't get all the references, but it was just unbelievably funny. It kind of just like, it takes like the filmmaking. Like, there was one parody of Jiro Dreams of Sushi. They're just like, I think this is the third or fourth season, and there've been a bunch of really great ones. So if you like documentaries even a little bit, I recommend checking that out.
Well, I'm gonna try to find that episode though for sure. Like,
it's on last week. If you have IFC, it's on there.
Okay.
Well, speaking of shows, one I really wanted to touch on before we get to the Oscars is The Umbrella Academy, and I just want to say it's fucking good. It's
Is it?
it's so good.
You heard it here, folks. The
It
Umbrella
is a
Academy
must
is
watch.
That shit
So
is fire. No, it's crazy. I was skeptical. I was like, oh, how is this better than all the shows? You know, I was like, what do you mean? Like better than Heroes, dog? Like better than, you know, I was like trying to think of shows in my head. Like, so I sat down and watched it with my fiance, and we were both like, yeah, this is better than those other shows. Like after episode one, we were like, yeah, this is like better,
I
huh?
told you, bro. Like it's a comic book adaptation, of course, but is like an
Yeah,
obscure comic book that I never heard of. Most people haven't heard of.
yeah, it's
But I was really
okay.
interested to see how like Netflix would replace like their Marvel shows that they basically all what I think they officially canceled all of them now.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I think they're gonna be just fine because this was
Yeah,
better than all those Marvel shows to me because they had way more like character depth for sure, and like the way the
yeah.
characters like interacted with each other was way better than anything else they had.
Well, they took their angle was so cool because unlike every superhero show you've ever seen, this one doesn't focus on their superpowers.
No, not at all, actually.
So like, yeah, no, like it's about a family, and then
Really
it's
fucked up
about
then.
an
Yeah.
yeah, really fucked up family. The whole point of the show is really them trying to stay together, or at least like not fall apart, and
Basically
like
like overcome all their childhood trauma and bullshit that like had made them so not really a family, so dysfunctional, and basically dealing with
yeah,
like their father's stuff, which is, I mean, not the most original kind of storyline, but the way they do it and like the characters are like so original and unique to me. Specifically, number five, who is like a old ass man who's stuck in like a 13-year-old body.
59-year
Yeah,
old. Yeah, he came back 59, stuck in a 12 or 13-year-old's body, and that kid actor was
yeah, he
amazing.
was amazing.
I heard the directors and the writer of the comic book, they went through like 300 kids before they got to that kid.
Well, they picked the right one because he's
Yeah.
amazing. In every scene, he's good. The I think in my reaction, I called her Juno, but Ellen Page.
Yeah, Ellen
I thought it was
Page.
gonna focus like so much on her, but it actually didn't, and she wasn't like overpowering compared to like everybody else. Everybody
Well,
had like
that's what was crazy because I knew she had more to the story. I was like, they wouldn't have Ellen Page on here with all these non-named people as a background character. I was
yeah,
like, what's she gonna? She's gonna have something, you know. So like, lo and behold, she's in. But I didn't want to give too much away. I didn't want to
yeah. I
like
don't want to
full.
spoil anything, but I'm gonna say this is a must watch. Like out of everything on Netflix, this is absolutely a must watch. It's that
Ellen
good.
Page is another that went out on a limb with the Jussie thing, by the way.
Oh, she did. I could see that though.
I could see that.
She's-
I could definitely see that.
I mean, I'm a
I
fan of
could
hers, so I
easily
don't want
see
to
that.
pick up too much.
I'm a,
Oh,
I'm,
I'm a fan of her work by far. I love
I'm a fan of a lot of
her
these people who went
choices,
out
her
on the limb.
comedic
I'm pretty
timing.
sure
I just like her awkwardness. She's a great performer. I
I'm
just
pretty sure
don't know.
Jordan
Yeah.
Peele also went out on a limb. So I'm a fan of a lot of these people who went out on a limb.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, let's not. Let's not. Like, actually listen to his story and then kind of think about what he's saying before
Yeah.
you just go out there and just, like, go to the extreme for this guy. That's all
Right.
I'm saying.
You guys see Russian Doll?
No, but I have heard great
My
things.
fiance watched it. She said it was really
Really
good. Yeah.
Well,
Great
8
things.
episodes, each a half hour, so you can blast in, blast out. It takes 2 or 3 days, and it's really good.
Mm.
It's a kind of perfect for Netflix. And Natasha Lyonne, she's wonderful from Orange is
Yeah,
the
I
New Black.
noticed her from Orange is the New Black. Yeah, she was great in that. So
Yeah.
Was she in American Pie too?
Yes, she was an American Pie. She had kind of a two-part career. She had a career when she was young, and then she was on drugs for a while, and
yeah,
then she got sober and kind of made a comeback with her Black and other things. Yeah, I remember
Yeah, I
seeing her
remember
around
seeing
New
her,
York.
like, she looks
Like,
so familiar.
yeah,
I forgot all about. That's crazy. Damn, I never put that together.
Yeah, I
she
haven't
was
seen
in a
it.
movie in the early 2000s called "But I'm a Cheerleader," which is about she gets sent to a gay conversion camp, and she resists it and runs off with the girl. Yeah, it's kind of a much better movie than Boy Erased.
I haven't seen that one either. So.
That's crazy.
But on a kind of unrelated, but unrelated. No, I don't know if you guys saw this story about this guy who was like a head of this gay conversion camp for like 20 years, and he just came out of the closet like a week ago, and he divorced his
That's
wife
happened
of,
a few times.
Years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that happens like every 5 years.
It was like all of the news this past week. I just thought, the irony in that one,
Oh yeah, well of course.
Yeah, that was Boy Erased.
He had to have so much resentment for himself that he was just like, trying to beat it out of other people, and then he finally couldn't give. He had to give in. He's like, look, I can't beat it out of myself now. I tried by getting it out on all these people for 20,
30 years. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so Umbrella Academy, everybody go watch it, and I'm gonna go watch the Russian Doll probably this week. She was talking about. So we're gonna get right to Oscars talk. I guess we just give like our initial or our impressions for if you guys watch the show. What do you guys think about it? Compared to like the other year's shows and whatnot.
Well, I'll go first. So I thought the show itself was actually surprisingly well done. They kind of stumbled into a format that worked in that there was no host and that they didn't waste a lot of time with a lot of the things they usually waste time with. They had
I was shocked.
3 hours, which they didn't quite make that, but it was I think 3 hours 50 minutes. And yeah, it was breezy. It was fast paced. It was it didn't waste a lot of time with stuff that was unnecessary, other than the Queen performance, which I'm not really sure why they did that because
it was not good.
No.
Like I did not enjoy it. I don't want.
It was way too. Adam Lambert.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
And
I forgot who that was. I was like, oh, that's Adam Lambert.
It's just hard for me to picture anybody but Freddie Mercury like singing that stuff. So it's like really hard to enjoy.
Yeah, I was like, Bruno Mars should have did that.
Or even the guy from the movie. But it was like
that's been
so.
over.
The show, I mean, and that was like the first 5 minutes. I mean, I was afraid they'd do like a whole medley or play all of the song Bohemian Rhapsody, which
they take the two
like 7 minutes long,
weirdest song choices for me. Like I was like, we will rock you at the Oscars. I don't know. I didn't think it was a good choice, but
I mean, there weren't any nominated. I mean, usually the songs that they sing at the Oscars are the nominated songs, which none of the songs in the Queen movie were new, so none of them could be nominated for original song. But I thought the Bradley Cooper Lady Gaga song was wonderful, and just the way they staged it and shot it was just so non-traditional for an award show. And I think that's the moment that people are going to remember this for.
Really,
that was the moment. That was probably the moment of the Oscars.
I think everybody kind of went crazy on Twitter about it.
Yeah. Now
they did.
Now, the show itself I liked. The winners I did not like.
I thought it was good.
Okay.
You're lagging behind a little there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm got lag. So go ahead, Steve.
All right. So, the show itself I liked, but the winners I had some strong disagreements with. I don't think Green Book deserved Best Picture or anywhere close to Best Picture. we're
gonna get into that in a little. I'm gonna give that a little.
And I did a ranking of all of the movies that I saw in 2018, and Green Book was in the 300s. I'm not kidding. That's literally where I had ranked. And beyond Best Picture, the fact that Green Book won for Best Screenplay was, I thought, atrocious as well, just because it was not a good screenplay, and it didn't develop its characters well. The dialogue was stupid. I mean, the writing was one of the worst elements of and the other big disagreement I had was that Bohemian Rhapsody won for. I didn't really object that much to Rami Malek winning because I thought he was decent. But editing and sound mixing were the Oscars that Bohemian Rhapsody won. And the editing in that movie, you might have seen a viral clip that's made the rounds of like this one scene where they're just sitting at a table talking and there's like 25 cuts in 1 minute. It's And I think the reason that they won, I think the reason the guy won the best editing Oscar was because the director
The
got
live
fired,
aid.
and the impression is that the editor kind of saved the movie, which I don't even know if that's true, but I think that's But then again, that editor has worked with Bryan Singer on like every movie of his career, so I think I don't know if that's the consolation award that it should be. Olivia Colman was a nice surprise. I liked her in that
was a
film,
surprise.
and it was great to see Spike Lee finally win because he
Finally,
he,
even though he did not win Best Director,
not be nominated. So,
Yeah.
all right, what were your impressions?
so I didn't see the whole thing. Obviously, 3 hours is too long to watch everything, but I did watch most of the highlights and most of the big like awards and speeches. And like you, I thought it was decent. I mean, wasn't like mind blowing, but I thought it was gonna be much worse without a host, and I think they all did a pretty good job, especially picking like all the guests and people who were gonna introduce everything. Like I think they all did a good job, and they're all related in the right ways to everything. Um, obviously, I didn't. I mean, I've never thought last year was like a really strong year for movies, and I thought this year's field wasn't like a really strong field either. So I wasn't like too shocked by anything because I didn't have like any strong favorites to win. But I was kind of pissed that Spike Lee didn't win Best Director. Even though I didn't think he was going to because everybody's talking about Roma so much. And so I guess I'm gonna talk about Green Book right now. So everybody is super pissed about Green Book.
That's a hot topic. That's the hottest topic right now.
So before the show came out, I watched every nominated movie. That's why I was like.
That's the one I didn't watch though. I haven't got to that one yet.
I watched all of them. I didn't love any of them, like none of them. Like I just thought like the favorite was okay. It had some moments. I think the performances. I think the performances were great in the favorite, specifically Rachel Weisz, which I think she could have easily won one, but it wasn't like very exciting. Roma was a great art piece, I guess, and like a love letter to his life, but it was extremely boring for the 2 hours and whatnot. Black Panther. I didn't think it was going to win just because it's a comic book movie, and Vice was entertaining. I don't know how like completely accurate it is, but it's entertaining. It basically felt like the exact same formula from The Big Short. He just applied it to like Dick Cheney's story,
and like put it on steroids. I mean, it was like he had those little funny, offbeat touches in The Big Short, and he just decided, well, that worked. I'm gonna, do that times 100 for the Dick Cheney one. And I was entertained by that movie. It just went over so much that.
Yeah, I think it was just the strongest point of that movie for me was that he made like such a dark and depressing story, like really depressing story, like actually enjoyable to watch because it's like how fucked up it is because it's actually kind of like real life, but it's still enjoyable movie. Like that was his strongest point to me, and it was literally just like The Big Short. So it was entertaining. I think Christian Bale as Dick Cheney was pretty damn good. I think everybody was pretty damn good in the movie. It just didn't really feel like as impactful as a movie like that should have been. You know what I mean? Like it was almost
I'm glad,
too
like,
fun.
If it breaks this new idealization of the Bush years and how, I think it was Harry Reid who came out today and said, well, this is making me miss the Bush years, all the stuff that's going on with Trump. It's like things are pretty bad back then. A lot of bad stuff happened, and
really bad.
Yeah,
like
not Bush this kindly grandfather type or Cheney either. I mean, that was like a lot.
I mean, he kind of played Bush for like
it was everything was until Trump. That's not how it was. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be as impactful as like The Big Short was in terms of like really understanding the topics that he's like trying to talk about. Because I thought it was like almost too lighthearted in its approach. But what was the other movie? I said Roma, Vice, Black Panther, favorite. And I guess that's just Green Book, or is...
everything won something. All 8 of the Best Picture nominees won at least one award. So
Oh yeah.
they
Oh, Black
spread.
Stars
Klansman.
Born?
I already saw Black Klansman. That was missed. Yeah. Okay. So I already saw Black Klansman. I thought it was an enjoyable movie. I thought it was Spike Lee's best movie in a really long time. And
Mm-hmm.
even though I think it played things kind of like Vice, was a bit too loose and lighthearted at times, but I think it did a better job of like really conveying its story and its impact. And then A Star Is Born, I didn't even know it was a remake because I don't know the originals, but I think Bradley Cooper surprised me at how good like directing and acting he did in that specific role. I just felt like it started out really strong and then got kind of real shaky at the end in terms of the way it ended. Wasn't really feeling the ending.
Well, I think I'm kind of mystified by Stars Born not. I mean, Stars. If you went back to like last fall, Stars Born was the Oscar favorite going into the season. Everybody assumed that it was, it had it in the bag, and I'm not really sure why it lost that. I mean,
I feel like people kind of got mixed up with how good certain scenes and the music was comparing to like the overall movie. For me, I was like, the music was amazing, and it made me really like the song a lot more, honestly. But then I think it started out really strongly, like I said, but I think it just rushed things towards the end and kind of just didn't really hit that home run at the end. Kind of just, like it just faded away.
Well, there was some weird like stuff with the stuff that happened with that. Like, I mean, Cooper gave a couple interviews where it seemed like he was like too thirsty for an Oscar, which I never understood that criticism of people. Like, these studios spend so much money on these awards campaigns, and it's 6 months out of the year. They're campaigning hard. They're doing negative campaigns against other movies, and like Cooper gives an interview where he seems too eager to win an Oscar. I mean, good. I mean, why should he be sorry about that? I mean, it's what happened with Anne Hathaway.
Everybody wants this.
He worked really hard. Yeah, like, this is the hardest I ever worked on a film. I really want to.
Like Anne Hathaway, everyone got at Anne Hathaway for this. That she really seems like she wants an Oscar. I'm like, yeah. So what? Everybody wants an Oscar. Why is that? Why is that worth criticism? And
it's funny. Anne Hathaway, that was funny though when she said that on stage. That was kind of crazy. I was like, damn. That's one of those things you always remember about her. And she'll probably never get one. Wait, did she get one?
No, she got one for Les Mis.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was.
She was only in it for like 10 minutes, but she shaved her head.
That was crazy too. It was like 3 other people that like could have got the Les Mis, and
she got it. Yeah,
she got that one.
Yeah, she's campaigning hard. But all right, that brought me to Green Book. So I'm gonna just talk about Green Book because I didn't think it was as bad as everybody said it was. I thought it was a fine movie. Obviously, there's a lot of things in question about how factual it was and writing and everything that goes along with it. Because people that don't know, the family of Don Shirley really don't like this movie and really don't like the way they portrayed all the events, saying that it's not factual at all. They weren't that close of friends, blah blah blah, which really changes the movie. This is true, but for the movie that they did put on screen, I thought it was a generic period type of film. But the thing I did like is the actors, because I like Mahershala Ali and I like Viggo Mortensen in this, even though he is a giant stereotype. I do think their interactions are really like heartfelt, especially towards the end of the movie, and like I really liked their chemistry together on screen more so than the actual movie.
I mean, my problem with the film was that I didn't like Viggo Mortensen's performance. I thought he was just doing he sounded like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny. He's just doing this like broad Italian stereotype guy, and he's just.
But that could be how the guy was.
It's an appalling figure that I didn't buy his redemption. I didn't believe that he was redeemed. I didn't feel that his redemption arc was worthy of a movie. And I thought that Don Shirley's story was much more interesting than his. Yeah. And I would have much rather seen a movie about Don Shirley's.
Don Shirley definitely should get his own movie because his story is way more interesting than this one. But like I said, I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was fine for what it was. but winning the Best Picture and being nominated like that is for sure not what should have happened. It was generic. Like honestly, it's a really generic type of movie for this type of film it is, and to see it win the Best Picture, especially over a lot of favorites. Like I thought Roma or like you said, Star Is Born. I thought they had like giant Oscar pushes, and to see this one win was like a shock. And I think the best reaction to it was apparently Spike Lee tried to leave the building when it got announced.
Oh yeah,
It was also. I mean, he was just probably.
Yeah, in his speech in the backstage, he said it was like I felt like I was courtside at a Knicks game, and the ref made a bad call. I just got it.
And
well, I think like I lost. It was like I lost to Driving Miss Daisy all over again because that was what.
Yeah, this is what I was gonna bring up. It's like it was literally almost the same situation, like a far better movie and a movie.
I mean, Do the Right Thing is a movie. I mean, Do the Right Thing is one of the best movies that's come out like in my life, and Driving Miss Daisy is not a movie that I've much thought of in the 30 years since then, other than
has not aged well.
Right.
I mean, I thought If Beale Street Could Talk was not only better than Green Book, but it was better than all 8 of the nominated Best Picture movies, and I don't know why it wasn't nominated. I don't understand why. Like, there isn't really.
Right? Yeah, If Beale Street Could Talk. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it won. Regina King won. I was happy to see that, but
that was tight.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like I loved Regina King's speech. I loved Rami Malek's speech. It was great. I loved Olivia Campbell or Colman. Olivia Colman.
I like how they don't turn the music on in the Oscars. They let them rock.
Yeah, no, they turn the music on.
Well, but they give them like it
they
felt
don't
like
blare them
like
off the stage, but they definitely turn it on. Like, all right, now, like, but by far the best moment was Spike Lee getting his first Oscar win and being announced by Samuel Jackson. Like that was amazing.
That was amazing. Because he gave him the whole Spike Lee.
And that was amazing. Like you could just feel it. Like,
and he jumped on top of Sam with his golden Jordans on.
And he gave such a fucking amazing speech and tied in Do the Right Thing into it. And of course, Trump had something to say about it. Like it's all about him.
Yeah,
what? He did?
Yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, I tweeted about he called Spike Lee racist. He said, I don't remember what else he said, but it was like, I mean, I'm sure Trump had a joke set to go about the ratings being down, but then it turns out the ratings were up. So he didn't say anything about that. But
he said something like he said it was a racist speech, but literally the whole speech was talking about how his ancestors came up through slavery. And how his grandmother saved 50 years of Social Security to put him through film school. And then he put in the thing at the end about 2020 and voting for love and not hate. And of course, Trump, obviously he knows he's on the other side of the line that he's drawing. And he only responds to, obviously, minorities. But
it's like, wait, I'm a hater? Yeah.
So he had to throw that out there, but it was a great speech and a great moment. I think that was the best moment of the night for me.
Well, I remember the year Michelle Obama, they had her present Best Picture, and she gave this speech, this like completely innocuous speech about how you should follow your dreams and be a creative person, and like Republican people just went nuts about that. They're like, how could they do that? How could they be so political? This non-political. I mean, the Oscars have never not been political. I mean, back to like the '60s, people said things political when they went up on stage. That's nothing new.
I mean, I actually didn't even think it was that political of Oscars. And like Spike Lee said his thing, but it really wasn't that political. And then people took Malek's speech as being political, like talking about his family.
Well, he's talking about immigrant. He's talking about being an immigrant.
About immigration, yeah, and how
he just used what's it called? Trigger words.
He used trigger words. Immigrant. Those are definitely trigger words. Like,
well, Alfonso won with his 3 different acceptance speeches. I think you mentioned Mexico and a lot of those, and he said stuff about I think 5 of the last 6 Best Director winners have been Mexican. It was Coron,
Oh, wow.
Really?
and also
Yeah.
Del Toro, and also Inarritu for Birdman. But
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh,
it was
snap. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's those three guys who are all friends with each other, and they all like.
Who won the year that Leonardo finally won? Who was this director?
It was Inarritu for The Revenant.
Yeah, that's right. And he won for Birdman. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
crazy.
it was.
It's not really a like. This happens a lot where someone wins an Oscar after a long time, and it's not for the movie they should have won for. Like,
No, that was definitely a lifetime.
have you watched The
lifetime
Revenant since
award?
then?
Like here, finally, here, just go ahead and have this one. You know.
Yeah, I needed to watch it one time, and I was like, "Oh, cool, that was a good story." You know, like
Yeah, it was just like great visuals. Don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch Shutter Island again before I watch.
Oh,
The
I've seen
Revenant.
Shutter Island like 20 times. Like
I've seen Wolf of Wall Street.
That's what I'm saying.
I haven't seen
Shutter Island, Inception, Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, exactly.
It was definitely a
I
lifetime.
watched a little bit of
film.
Inception the other day.
He had to win one eventually. They had to give it to him. Like they couldn't keep snubbing him, you know.
For real.
But I mean, that's my thoughts about it. I thought it was decent. Terrible.
Well,
I mean, outside of the best picture, I was pretty satisfied with everything else that won.
Mm-hmm.
well, the big surprise today was that the ratings actually went up. Now this is all relative. You got to look at it. It was up probably. I think I saw 6 or 7% from last year, but last year was the all-time lowest, and it was last year had been a double-digit decline from the year before. So I think like it was up, but it's still the second lowest rated Oscars of all time. However, it was still like 28 million people, and it's probably going to be the highest rated show on network television this year, other than football. So,
Oh wow.
think of that what you will. It depends which way you look at it. I mean, it's not like
Well,
people are going to say that. People are going to hear that and say, "Well, nobody watched the Oscars," but obviously,
yeah.
millions of people did.
Well, I think last year wasn't the Oscars so white hashtag going around.
That was a couple.
last-
Years,
No, that
it
was
was.
like
It was.
Oh,
a
that
couple
was 2 years
ago,
ago.
3 years ago, 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was before the Hidden Figures year, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm not sure exactly.
It was when Chris
what it
Rock.
was. But I mean, that's something. Yeah,
Mm,
that might have.
Word.
I mean,
well,
that's
I'm not
the thing
gonna lie. When they announced Green Book, I thought it was gonna be a La La Land situation. I was waiting for her to say something else. I was like, wait. I was like, say something else. Like,
I think there's safeguards in place to prevent that from ever happening again. I think they've taken steps to not have that ever that particular.
yeah, right.
But
Oh,
I mean,
the best-
there's definitely been. Oh, God.
I was gonna say the best moment of the night was the best joke of the night was like an inside joke. It was from Trevor Noah. I don't know if you saw that, but he said his little. He said a phrase in African, and he said that it was what did he say? It said in times like these we are stronger when we fight together than when we try to fight apart. But apparently the real translation of what he said was white people don't know I'm lying. African Twitter has been having a field day with it. So
he had a good joke about Mel Gibson too. He's
yeah,
like,
he definitely threw.
He said another word for that too. And there weren't a lot of jokes overall, other than I liked the Melissa McCarthy thing where she was dressed as the favorite characters.
Oh yeah, well that was cool actually. That was like a neat little thing because
I mean,
they don't really
I'd be
do costumes.
I'd be okay if they just let Samuel Jackson present everything.
I mean,
For
he
real.
used to host the ESPYs. I guess he could probably host the the Oscars.
I mean, yeah. So I was gonna say, do you think they're gonna have a host now again?
I mean, there's a good chance they might just decide, you know what, we didn't have a host and the ratings are up and we kept the show short and maybe we'll just keep doing that. And I mean, they had a real hard time finding a host. I mean, what people forget is like when they announced Kevin Hart, it was still months later than it normally is when they announced the host. It was like November, I think, or maybe mid-December. And because either I don't know if they literally no one wanted to do it or if no one. I mean, hosting the Oscars is a pretty thankless job because it doesn't really let anyone use their talents. It doesn't really it's like if you're an actor, you don't get to do much acting. If you're a singer, you don't get to do much acting. If you're much singing. If you're a comedian, you don't really get to be that funny.
They did let Chris Rock do a lot more than I thought he was gonna be able to do.
They did. I mean, Chris Rock did a good monologue, but it was like, I mean, it was a Chris Rock it was 15 minutes of a Chris Rock stand-up routine, which was, PG-13 rated, if not PG rated, compared to, what he would be doing on stage. So, and then you end up doing, it's just really, being the host is really just the monologue, and then you do various recurrent bits throughout the night, which are usually not very good, no matter who writes and what they do. So, I mean, it's not, and then when the ratings go down, the host gets blamed, whether they're really to blame or not. And I mean, I thought Jimmy Kimmel was just fine as the host the last 2 years, although some of those bits he did, some of the bits he did were just bad. Like he did the whole thing where he went over to the theater next door, and that was 20 minutes of, nothing funny happening. And
the best part was Matt Damon. That's his best joke in his entire career. Is his ongoing thing with Matt Damon. Literally.
Facts.
But over at the Spirit Awards, Aubrey Plaza apparently killed it. I don't know if you've seen.
I heard good things. I didn't watch that. Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, she killed it, and Alicia Keys killed the Grammy. So I think the right host, you should be fine.
Well, it's the Grammys who've done the no host thing various times, where the Grammys are a little bit different because it's just so much of it is just performances. Where it's like, if you're the host, all you really have to do is introduce the performances and introduce the presenters, and I mean,
she had the best performance of the night too. So
yeah,
I think the Oscars might have to. I think they're gonna incorporate some performances if they adopt the no host situation. I think adding maybe soundtrack artists to like a performance set might be a way to like bring viewership to their.
They had 4 performances, but they're like really short. Yeah.
No. I mean, the Queen one.
They had Queen. They had Bette Midler thing. They had the Stars Born one. They had Hudson, and there was one
Out of Buster Scruggs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but yeah. That was...
But they were short, like 2 minutes, like 2.5 minutes.
Buster Scruggs was so brilliant. That first segment of Ballad of Buster Scruggs was one of my favorite things. If that had been like a standalone candidate for short film, that was just like so brilliant. I mean, the rest of the movie I didn't like as much as that, but that was just like I loved it so much.
Yeah, I actually watched it the other day, and I didn't know what to expect, but I was surprised. Pretty depressing, actually, pretty dark, surprisingly dark. I thought it was gonna be more lighthearted because the people were in it, but it was actually pretty dark. It was actually it was good too. It was a nice little anthology. So yeah, I mean, you guys let us know what you thought about the Oscars and the no host Oscars, and just the general show and how you think it went and what were your favorite moments and what were the moments you could do without. Let us know in the comments down below. So we're just gonna hop into it. Talk about see who had the most predictions right. Got my list right here.
Yeah.
So we just get right to it.
List.
So best picture nominees were Green Book, Black Panther, BlacKkKlansman, Bohemian Rhapsody, The Favorite, Roma, Stars Born, and Vice. And I'm pretty sure nobody in the country, probably not even the directors, had this one picked as the best winner, but Green Book won.
Did I say Stars Born or Roma? I don't remember what I said.
You both said the Stars Born.
Okay.
I said Roma, and Green Book won. So.
Yeah. Crazy.
Very crazy. Best actor, we had Rami Malek, Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper, Willem Dafoe, and Viggo Mortensen. I said Rami Malek, and both of you guys had Christian Bale.
Yep. You got that one.
I told you.
Right.
Music biopic of Queen, and he did a great job. Come on, no way. So, best actress, we had Olivia Colman, Yalitza Aparicio, Glenn Close, Lady Gaga, and Melissa McCarthy. I said Gaga. Steven, you said Gaga, and Doris, you said Glenn Close. and the winner was Olivia Colman.
Mm-hmm. Her speech was cute. She was like so shocked.
So, actor and best supporting actor: Mahershala Ali, Adam Driver, Sam Elliott, Richard E. Grant, and Sam Rockwell. I said Adam Driver. Reese, you said Mahershala Ali, and Stephen, you said Sam Elliott, and the winner was Mahershala Ali. Wasn't mad at that
Thank
one.
you.
Struggle.
Thank you. Thank you. Points on the board.
Best supporting actress: Regina King, Amy Adams, Marina de Tavira, Emma Stone, and Rachel Weisz. Me and Doris both said Regina King, who ended up winning, and Stephen, you said Amy Adams.
I didn't say Regina King, really? Oh, man.
You're off to a rough start right now.
Speaking of Regina King, did you see the Knicks game last week where she was sitting courtside and Joel Embiid like jumped over her?
No, I didn't.
Oh, what? No.
Yeah, he was like diving for a ball and he like jumped over Regina King onto this guy who was like the statistician who was sitting there. And I think Tracy Morgan was sitting in the row too. But luckily she was okay. I was glad she wasn't memed by Joel Embiid, who's probably about twice her size, if not more than that. So.
At least. Right. That's funny.
So here
Congrats
you go. You got yourself a win coming up. Best animated feature film: Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Incredibles 2, Isle of Dogs, Mirai and Ralph Breaks the Internet. I said Isle of Dogs, and Doris and Steven both said Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right.
Oh, come on. Isle of Dogs is the type of shit the Academy loves.
Dog, that shit was so dry. But nothing. It was so bleak. You can't make an animation so bleak and win.
But that's the type of shit they love. Clay animated, and it was by what's his name? Come on.
Wes Anderson has not won an Oscar. He might have won one for, but he hasn't won. Yeah.
He never won an Oscar.
He might have won for writing. I'll have to look that up, but I don't think he hasn't won a Best Picture or anything like that.
Not that I know.
They always talk about him. Best cinematography: Roma, Cold War, The Favorites, Never Look Away, and Star is Born. Me and Steven both said Roma, which was the winner, and Maurice said Never Look Away.
I saw Never Look Away, which was decent. Very long, but I liked it.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet either. Even though I voted for it. I did see Roma. And I can see why they said that cinematography. That first scene of cinematography is brilliant. It's like a extended.
It's a gorgeous piece of art. It's just boring as
those long shots.
They sometimes send us swag, the film critics, during the awards voting, and they sent us this beautiful coffee table book for Roma, and it didn't have the dog shit at the beginning, but it did have the naked guy swinging the stick, the shower curtain.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
I was like, I the unexpected moments of just like nudity and seeing somebody's dick. Like that was like one of those moments where I was just like,
I was like, oh, what's going on? Yeah, I was like,
you watch foreign films, you see
me of Bruno. I hadn't seen that much swinging on a screen since Bruno like that. Like,
I just don't know if I was more bored by this movie or The Artist.
I like The Artist, but that's not a movie that's like looked back upon fondly. Like, no one ever watches it. It's never on TV.
Nobody watches it again.
Looked at as one of those, like I saw it at a film festival and I loved it when I first saw it, but then I'm just like,
this is one of those movies I cannot watch again to save my life. I'm sorry, I can't. I understand why it would win, like Roma, I understand, but it is not an enjoyable watch. So, best director: Roma, Alfonso Cuarón, Spike Lee, Powell Palakowski, Yorgos Lanthimos, and Adam McKay. which Doris and Steven both said.
Yeah.
I picked Spike out of just hoping that he finally got his best director, but unfortunately he did not. And
Spike.
he looked very pissed again when he didn't win that one.
That was good energy though. He needed the energy though, because he got something.
So with Coron winning 3 awards in the same night and going up to give the speech each time, I'm kind of curious, like, how he decides what he's going to say in each speech. Like, like, am I going to think, all right, I'm going to thank these people in the first speech, but I might not get to make a second one, so I'm sure to make all those people. But if I thank someone in the second or third speech, are they going to be mad at me that I didn't mention them earlier because I didn't know if I get to? So I'm kind of.
Yeah,
I didn't watch all 3.
I didn't watch all of them. I watched, I think, one of them. I didn't watch the director. Yeah, and they all felt pretty short, and it felt pretty short. So I can see why if you got to go through it 3 times.
Yeah,
you know?
I still think it's crazy. This is like groundbreaking, though. Like, he's the first director to do that, to win cinematography and directing, right?
Well, because he did all the jobs in the movie. He was the producer. He was the cinematographer. He wrote it. I mean, there were a whole bunch of things that he was credited as because it was kind of his. He was kind of running the show.
Child. That was his baby.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, best documentary, Free Solo, held County this evening, Minding the Gap of Father and Sons, and RGB. We all picked RGB, assuming that was the runaway favorites, but Free Solo came in for the win.
That was a surprise. I mean, I liked Free Solo a lot. I thought it was better than RBG, so I'm happy to want him. But like, probably my 5 or 6 favorite documentaries of the year all weren't nominated. I can't believe the Mr. Rogers movie was nominated for that. That made no sense at all. But that was just on TV this week, so I'm sure a lot of people got to see it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm gonna have to check it out because the scenes I've seen of it look intense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, best music, original score, Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, Isle of Dogs, and Mary Poppins. Me and Doris both picked Mary Poppins. The winner was Black Panther, who was picked by Steven.
All right, there we go.
You've come back strong.
There
all right,
so
score as it stands is 3-3 for 3-3 for me and Doris and 4 for you, Steven.
Oh, yeah. Wow. We saw that one.
Wait, 3. I got 4.
I have 3.
Wait, I got Mahershala in acting. I got Spider-Man. Then I got directing for Roma.
And that's all we've gone over. So you are at 3, like I said.
Wait, and Regina. Did we do that one yet? Actress?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, wait, no, I didn't. We did support an actress, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're at 4.
See, Dario cheating out here. That's proof, y'all. You see it right here. There's proof. We have footage. It's been recorded.
Let's finish this. Best music, original song. I'm just gonna say we all picked "Shallow" and "Shallow" won. I think that was the least surprising one out of everything.
Right.
Visual effects. First Man, Avengers: Infinity War, Christopher Robin, Ready Player One, Solo: A Star Wars Story. Doris, you had Avengers. Steven, you had First Man, and I had First Man, and the winner was First Man.
Glad to see that one award because that movie just kind of got forgotten about, and it was kind of unfair because there was that dumb controversy where everybody said that it didn't show the flag.
Yeah.
Which they didn't putting the flag down on the moon, but the entire just flag from beginning to end, and like there was nothing about the movie that was unpatriotic, or it's just this movie. This movie was just like a celebration of mid-century American heartland values, but for some reason everybody was told that it had this anti-American agenda that didn't exist. And honestly didn't even think it was that great a movie, but I thought it didn't get it had a worse fate than it deserved. Was my opinion.
I don't know if you
I
don't know if you see honors posters, how they do like honors movie posters for all the Oscar nominees.
No.
It's not.
So they do honest posters, they do honest trailers where like
Yeah.
like they reinterpret, the posters to like basically parody or poke fun at the movies in some sort of way. And they did one for The First Man, and like the tagline was "Needs more flags." So it was actually pretty funny.
Needs more what?
Needs more flags.
I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Needs more flags.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. I remember I had the soundtrack. I posted a picture of him. Like, I can't wait to listen to the "Never Plant the Flag on the Moon" overture. But there's a documentary coming out, I think next week, called Apollo 11. It's coming out first on IMAX and then in regular theaters, where it's a documentary about the Apollo 11 mission, and it's like from beginning to end of it, and it's all this like internal NASA footage that I think has never before been released, and it's really incredible.
Nope.
So,
I mean, the trailer looks fucking mind blowing.
Yeah, I saw it the other day.
So it is 556 Steven. Last two ones. Best adapted screenplay, Black Klansman, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Can You Ever Forgive Me, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. I said Beale Street. Steven, you said A Star Is Born, and Darius, you had Black Klansman, and Black Klansman won.
Yeah.
Pretty surprised. I didn't think he was gonna get the nod for that.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
Bradley because he co-wrote *A Star Is Born*. He didn't win for that. He got nominated for best director. He wrote a bunch of the songs in *Star Is Born*, but "Shallow" wasn't one of them. Like they all had like Lady Gaga was a co-writer of some of them too. He didn't get nominated for any of his songs, and he didn't win for acting.
He just got snubbed all night. Yeah.
Yeah, not a good time for Bradley. And
definitely not a good time for him.
Right.
He's not the first one to have that happen to, though.
That's
yeah. They gave looks to everybody but him. Like
yeah. I went to they had a local premiere screening in Philadelphia last September for that, and he's from Philadelphia, and so he's like the favorite son who everybody loves. He was in Silver Line's Playbook, where they were an Eagles jersey ball movie, and then when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he was sitting next to the owner, so everybody, everybody appreciates him. So he came, and they did a Q&A after, and everybody said their hometown, and all these people told them, "Oh, you're gonna win an Oscar. You're totally gonna win an Oscar, and you have all these chances to win an Oscar." Sadly, he didn't win an Oscar, but one of these years, he's still a pretty young man. I mean, he'll have plenty of chances.
I mean, now that we've seen what he can do as a director, I'm sure he's gonna have a lot more opportunities directing. So.
Yeah. Right.
Last category was original screenplay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say Green Book won, and nobody in their right fucking mind had this pick. But somehow it won.
Sorry, Nick Vallelonga.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Oh, and one note about the Green Book and their speeches: not once did they mention Don Shirley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mahershala did, but
yeah,
that's fucked up.
Did the writers, producers mention him?
Yeah, the damage was done by that. I think.
Crazy.
I mean,
but to compact it even more. Oh my god, like that.
So many. It's like so many things happen about that movie. Like, what'd you say?
It's just crazy. Like what Rami Malek did was like give props to Queen, like amazing props to them. That's what they should have did because their movie wouldn't exist without
Don.
Yeah, but no one for Bohemian Rhapsody mentioned their director, who's just like
he doesn't exist.
A non-person.
He's a
because he molested
imaginary,
people.
made-up
They
human being.
decided to pretend that didn't happen, and then nobody knew anything. I mean, it's really. I think like that couldn't win Best Picture. That was a bridge too far for it to win. It won all those other awards, and Rami Malek actually claimed, I had no idea any of this was going on, even though there've been, massive
He's
news
just
reports about this.
imagining that he never existed.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Brian who?
Got as far as it did.
Never heard of
Yeah,
him.
exactly. But with Green Book, I mean, so many things happen. It's like there's all these bad things that can happen to a movie during an Oscar campaign. That like, was the historical accuracy question? Yes, it was. Did one of the subjects disagree with it? Yes, they did. Were there racist tweets by the screenwriter? Yes, there were. Was there an old interview where the director admitted that he exposed himself to women? Yeah, there was, and none of that mattered.
Right.
It won anyway. I think
Check
maybe
all the
voters thought that it
boxes.
was they wanted they thought maybe they thought it was a campaign and it was coordinated and they didn't like that, so maybe it might have been like a Trump voter thing where it was just spite, where it's like they have all those like the Hollywood Reporter and all those papers doing these things where they interview an anonymous Oscar voter. It's a thing every year where they just do a bunch of articles where they talk to an anonymous Oscar voter about who they voted for and why, and it's always just the dumbest rationalizations you could possibly imagine for these people's votes. And some producer said about Green Book is like, I voted for Green Book for Best Picture because I'm sick of being told what movies I can like and not like.
Wow.
And I'm like, you can like whatever movies you want to like. Like, if someone tells you don't like Green Book, you can just say, I disagree with you. I do like it. I mean, have some courage of your own convictions to not be.
I even said I didn't think it was that bad. I just don't think it should win Best Picture. It's a different story.
Yeah. Hey.
The cherry on top for me, though, is to not even mention the man that the movie is literally based on, and it's just kind of like a slap in the face even more,
That's ultimate disrespect.
It was definitely like more of a prop. It definitely felt like more of a prop than.
I mean, what I guess happened was like.
It tells you why. I was gonna say it tells you why it was filmed like that. Like why he wasn't even. They were like trying to like not make the story. You're like, oh, that's why.
It encapsulates everything that everybody was talking about and their problems with it. And here it is.
I mean, Bela Long, he wrote the movie about his father, based on the stories his father told him about his friendship with this guy. And I think he assumed, well, Shirley didn't have children, must not have any living relatives, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And then it turns out, he has a couple brothers who are still alive. He has all these other people who are still alive who can say that, a movie about how he's estranged from his family, and that wasn't true, and that was never true.
So in interviews, they say that that they actually met with Don Shirley and discussed the movie and the screenplay.
Oh man, that's crazy.
I wonder if it's true, but this is what they said, and they said that he asked them not to make the movie until after he passed. So
I read something about that.
I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what they're saying in interviews.
Interesting. Okay.
I just don't think it's that. It should never been nominated. Period. To me, for what it did. That's just what it comes down to.
True. What was the final score?
All right. Final score was 5 for me,
Ooh.
6 and 6 for you two.
Ah.
Ooh. That means you caught an L.
Steven came on real strong at the end. He got all the He got all the technical.
Bro.
I mean, should the big ones count more? Like, should Best Picture count?
I feel like they should. I feel like
well, that's how it was for the actual awards. I mean, I think the one that won the most was, I think Bohemian Rhapsody won 4. And Panther won 3, and Green Book had the 2 or 3. I mean, nobody got more than 4. So
look, I'm gonna give y'all the win for now. But next time, you gave me a great idea. Next time, the big awards count more. That's just how it has to be.
We can do that.
All these little ticky-tack technical awards. Come on now, like
ticky-tack. That's too funny. Nah, and just like the weird ass, some of these just weird, surprising choices that the Academy made.
Green Book threw a huge wrench in a lot of my predictions and whatnot, but
the Green Book was like Childish Gambino winning all his Grammys.
Facts. This is America for best song and best record. He's
It's like, wait, why? What? Wait, what?
yeah. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode of the Fearless Show. It's talked about the Grammys, talked about a lot of other current events like Jussie Smollett, of course, who's going to be a topic for at least another 2 to 3 weeks. But
there'll be a trial. It's gonna drag on forever, I'm sure.
yeah,
Stay tuned for an update.
I gave my own think piece to it on YouTube and on the website, so you guys can definitely check that out. And we have a little discussion. Sure, it'll be fun. Again, Stephen, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you for
It's fun having you on here.
Thanks again, man.
You can check out all his writings on the website. There is a lot of them on there, and they're always some of our top viewed ones. So definitely give those a look. Again, you can plug in where people can find you.
I'm on Twitter, Steven Silver, SDPHENSLVER. Go to Rotten Tomatoes, look up my name, and that's where my reviews are, and just Google me, I guess, and on the site. So.
Yep. And for those of you that are watching the video of this, you can see Doris is wearing our new hoodies. So definitely grab some from the store.
Oh, yeah, I got my.
Yes. And again, today's date is February 25th, 2019. We'll be back shortly with more podcasts. If you like or you have anything to say about this show, past shows, or any future shows, you can let us know in the comments down below, wherever this goes up, wherever you enjoy listening to us or watching us on video. Or you can email us directly at podcast@livinglifefearless.co, and we'll try to get back to you, or you may be included in one of our future shows. Until then, we'll catch you guys soon. Keep doing what, Doris?
Keep living life fearless, y'all.
Yep.
Till next time.
Till next time. Catch you guys soon. Peace.